Hey you guys, this is Lacey. I'm coming to you for a review of Mickey Howard TV One movie Love Under New Management. Now before you get into it, if in case you just wanted to know, the lip color I'm wearing is from Kayor. It's called Sex. I'll put the link to her line, to Keisha Kayor's line in the description box. But just in case you wanted to know, because I had some people ask me on another channel. So we're going to get into it and we're going to talk about the review. So the movie starts. Mickey is banging on the door. She's there trying to get into the house of her friend Lytris and her mother Tracy. She gets into the house. That her mother Tracy wraps Mickey into a blanket because it's cold out. It's like nighttime. It has to be like maybe midnight or 10 or 11 or something. And so she gets into the house and she's telling Tracy and Lytris what happened. Basically, her mother was at a party in the house, having a party in the house. She was doing drugs. She had her boyfriend there, and she had her girlfriends there, like her intimate girlfriends, like they were having sex and everything. Her mother was bisexual, and her mother did have a drug problem. She was in the music industry, and a lot of people at that time they really were into drugs. Some of them still are, but that's not the point. So she's telling them what happened. Basically, her mother's boyfriend tried to rape her, and her mom came in the room. She was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And Mickey runs behind her mom, and she was like, "Mom, I tried to get him to stop," and he said she's always running around here half naked trying to get my attention. Mickey's mom, God, I hate when motherfuckers do this shit. She gonna say, "Oh well, you're just too damn grown for your own good." And so she basically kicks Mickey out. And Mickey was like, there could only be one woman in my mother's house, and it could only be her. So she kicked Mickey out at like 16. And Lytris and Tressie was like, they're like, well, are you okay? And Mickey was like, I'll be fine. I'll only be here for a couple of weeks. And then it flash forwards to 2 years later, she's still living with Tressie and Lytris because she couldn't go back with her mother. Her mother didn't want her there, and that was that. So they're at this scene where they're at it's like a roller rink or something, and it's like a performance hall. And Mickey is running. She's trying to get Lytris with her boyfriend. They're about to go into the performance hall, and then before they can get up the steps, Augie Johnson, who was the first father of Mickey's first two sons. I don't think he's Brandon's father because I think Brandon is a Jackson. I don't think they really want to discuss that, but I think Brandon is a Jackson. But he is the son. He is the father of her two boys, as the story is going. And he comes out their hall. They're talking. Mickey is very nervous because she really likes Augie. She's a big fan, and he's very sexy. So he's like, do you guys want to come to the studio? So they're like, yeah, sure. And, Mickey is telling Augie that her mom is a singer, Josephine Howard of the Caravan. She's friends with Aretha Franklin. She's in the industry. And he's heard of Josephine Howard. He's heard of the Caravans. They're all real close. So being a musician and a producer, he knows of them. So they get to the studio. Mickey is excited. Lytris is just sitting back, but then he invites Mickey to go into the studio and sing with the background singers. And Lytris starts getting jealous, and it's like, if you wanted to sing, bitch, why didn't you just say something? When they get home, she makes it a big ordeal when she was like, you think you special because you sang with Augie. Augie ain't shit, and you ain't either. And I'm like, bitch, you ain't shit. But sitting up there knowing you wanted to do something and not doing the shit. I don't know if she could sing or not, because that's another barrier. If you can't sing, then you should have just stayed right on that couch, because don't nobody want to hear all that hooping and hollering. Like, bitch, if you can't do it, you can't fucking do it. It's okay. So, but she gets upset with her, and Mickey is like, bro, it's not a big deal. You gonna get mad at me with some guy? You introduced me to the motherfucker. If it was all that, what's the issue? And she was like, he can help with my singing. She's like, that's not the only thing he can help you with. And I'm like, bitch, that ain't your business. If he can help me with something other than that, don't clock my pussy mouth. You watch your own. That's not had nothing to do with you. Now, if he got like HIV or herpes or VD or some shit like that, well, then you need to, then you open your motherfucking mouth. Don't just sit there. Say something then. But she, she's getting all upset, and she was like, Lightress, you have a man. What are you mad at? She's like, well, you probably mad because your man's a security guard. I'm like, you ain't had to say that. Ain't nothing wrong with being a security guard. That's a nice job. Everybody needs security. The famous need security. The poor need security. Everybody needs security. Ain't nothing wrong with security. But she was just poking fun with her. I'm like, that's fucked up. But then she was like, you got a house. You got a mom. What are you mad at? And again, you introduced me to him. And she was like, oh, that's right. Your mama didn't want you, She didn't want you at all. I forgot about that. She was like, bitch. And proceeded to beat the dog shit out of Lightress. And I would have beat that ass too. Bitch, you're not going to be talking about my predicament like that. You know I'm sensitive about my mama not wanting me and shit and putting me out for some raggedy ass nigga that tried to rape me. That's fucked up. I wasn't with that shit. Like, you ain't had to bring that up, Lightress. You can fuck yourself. So she's beating the shit out of Lightress. Tracy comes in, Lightress' mama. And she's like, what are you doing? I've clothed you, I've fed you for 2 years, and this is how you gonna treat my child? Now, Miki was like, she started it. And she did. Because you don't ever bring no shit like that up. You know what I'm saying? She's like, you have everything. Why are you getting mad at me over a guy? And she talking about your mom doesn't want you. She's like, but she started it, Tracy. She was like, get out and get your stuff and get out. She's like, I don't have a place to go. She said, you should have thought about that before. Now, I understand because with Josephine Howard, she didn't protect Miki at all. And Tracy is the opposite, where this is her child. She's going to protect her baby. But it's like, yeah, sometimes, but your baby was foul as fuck and she wasn't shit for what was going on. She wasn't innocent in the whole situation. But people are not really going to go with you over their kids all the time. You have times where, you have Josephine Howard as mothers. That's just a bitch that pushed the baby out. You ain't really no real mother. And then you have Tressies that are really going to ride for their kids. Sometimes they ride for them even if they wrong, and maybe in that instance you shouldn't, but she ain't going to leave her out to dry. So Miki has to get out. She ends up going to the studio. She's there to see Augie, but she don't have no place to stay. So she's sleeping on the sofa in the studio. I'm not sure if it was the same one they were in there sitting on before she went to the studio to sing with the background singers the last time, or if it was a different couch. It's probably a big studio. It might be multiple couches. I don't know. So she's sleeping. She's going through touching shit in the studio, and then she finally goes to sleep with her jacket and her bag in her hand. When she does, she wakes up, Augie, he comes in to wake her up. I think he had some coffee or something to drink for her in the morning. He's like, did you come to sleep or did you come to sing? And so then she starts singing with the background singers. But she really doesn't have a lot of control over her voice yet. If her mother took time to, develop her as a singer and maybe even an artist, she probably would have had more control. But because her mother kicked her out over some old foul ass nigga, she really didn't get a lot of the training she probably could have got with her mother's background and experience and everything. So, she couldn't control her singing and her vibrato, and she was very loud. It was kind of like that scene with Dreamgirls with Effie, except for she wasn't doing it on purpose to just aggravate Curtis and shit. She literally was just singing, and she didn't have the control that she should have had yet. And so he stopped it, and he was like, listen, this is not the Michelle Howard show. You need to sing the way I tell you to sing, okay? And she was like, I thought you said I was different. He was like, listen, you're different, but you can't be doing that. You have to follow instructions. When you're supposed to be a background singer, you're a background singer right now. You'll have your chance and all of that, but you're a background singer. Just do your oohs and ahs and just do what the fuck I tell you to do. And she was like, I can't do anything right. I'm not as good as the other ladies. And he said, listen, they get paid for singing what they get told to sing. That's what they get paid for. And if you can do that, then you got a future. So then they start talking and they start being intimate. They're making out. They start about to make love, being naked. And she was like, I want to be a star. And he was like, you don't have to sing so much with so much vibrato. You can sing from your diaphragm. Or he said from your gut. And he was like, that's what my mom told me to do. She said, my mom always used to say, Michelle, sing from your diaphragm. So she did train her somewhat, but not as much as she could have if she had more time with her. She didn't kick her out. And he was like, well, you should do that. And you can be as good as your mom. But she's like, I don't want to be like my mom. I want to be better. He's like, all right, cool. And she was like, why don't you come up with your own album? And he was like, nah, I'm cool. She's like, oh, you're not telling me. Are you scared? Is that what you're saying? You're afraid of the spotlight? He's like, no, I'm not afraid. I'm just more of a background type of guy. He said, anybody can be a star, but it takes a special person to be the sky that holds the star. I'm like, you better go ahead and Mac, nigga. I like you. I can see why y'all had 2 kids. I would have fucked you too. But I like this nigga. She was like, I want to be a star. He was like, baby, you could be that star. You know, and then they became intimate and with one another. And then the scene goes into when they became the side effects. Augie, Michelle, and 2 other people. And they had a nice little song. It was like a Georgie Porgy song. Like, dun, 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 dun. It was real nice. And so she was killing it. And it got to one point where they were doing an interview. They were a huge success. And they were touring quite a bit. They had a lot of shows. And they got to an interview, and this guy, he was interviewing them. And he really interviewed Miki. But then he didn't really interview Augie. He's like, I have to go. And she was like, wait a minute, you didn't ask Augie some questions. Ask Augie. And he was like, oh, well, maybe some other time. And he was like, wait, hold up. No. She's like, wait a minute, hold on. And Augie said, baby, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm the sky and you're the star, remember? And I was like, oh, that might cause some issues. I hope it don't cause issues, because you know how it can be for certain people, especially with some guys, you know. It really can, hinder some things if you are getting a little bigger than him or a little bit more known. So I'm like, that's terrible. So then the music keeps playing, and they go into all the tour dates, and they're having a lot of fun. It's her rising as an artist, and then she's in bed, and the music stops, and she gets a call, and it's from her mom. Her mom is dying. She has lung cancer, and it's real bad. Like, I think it's to the point where she was like spitting blood up and shit. And she basically was like, baby, I don't have that much longer to live. I got lung cancer, and I made so many mistakes, Michelle. And she was like, Mama, what's the point? Don't even go through all that right now. Like, yeah, you made mistakes, but you about to die. Like, that don't even matter no more. Let's just deal with this right here. And that's powerful, because I've had, not my mom, but I've had aunts that have treated me like shit. And when they were dying, I wanted to be angry, but it was like, I don't want this to be the last moments I have with you. Like, I don't fuck with you. I don't like you. It's like, I'm angry at you, but the anger ain't nothing but hurt. I'm really hurt because when I was a little girl, you was like my ace boom. You were my favorite auntie, especially my Aunt Lynn. And I'm like, how could you treat me like that after all these years of you, loving me and all the rest of that shit? So I could feel it. It made me cry the first time because, I couldn't relate. Not with my mom or my dad. Well, a little bit with my dad, but not with my mom. But with aunts and everything, it's like I could really relate. How could you do this? But it's like when they were dying, it really, at that moment, it surprised me, and I surprised myself, because I hold a grudge like nobody's fucking business. Bitch, I'll never forgive you, ever. But, it's like at that moment with them dying, it didn't really matter. And I could feel that with Miki even more so, and those were just my aunts. So if that's your mom, I could feel that even more so. And she was like, it doesn't even matter. I love you. Basically, that was the whole sentiment of the scene. And she was like, losing my mom the first time left me homeless. The second time, it'll change my life forever. It'll be a completely different thing. And so that her mom died. I wish they would have shown a funeral scene or something to solidify that she died or something. But it's a TV One movie, so you're gonna get what you get. Okay, so the next scene, Miki is going to see Augie in the studio with her 2 kids. And she's woke him up. This nigga got cocaine on the table, and he's sleeping in between two bitches, and it's like a white girl and a black girl, white woman and a black woman. He got his face in the titties of the black woman. I would have stabbed that nigga. How you gonna be here with two different bitches? We got kids and shit. See, you just. Why do you have to ruin everything? Like, boy, musicians, artists, musicians. Ugh. Just no. Don't deal with them. I can't. So, she wakes him up. She's like, "Oh, get your ass up." He's like, "What the fuck? What are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm trying to find you so you can get your kids." He's like, "So I couldn't find you." He's like, "Oh, so you gonna bring them in the studio?" She's like, "Oh, yeah, I can't find you nowhere but the studio. You ain't never nowhere else. Only place you are is here." So he's like, "Yeah, well, whatever." And she's like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" He's like, "Doing what? Like these women and these drugs." And he was like, just stop all that yelling. Shut all that up. She's like, "Augie, I'm not doing this when we get married." He's like, "We ain't getting married. I ain't never trying to get married. I ain't marrying you." And she said, "I know you ain't just say that, and I got your two kids." I'm like, shh. See, I can't have kids with motherfuckers. And I can't even start that shit. Like, I know you didn't just say that shit, and I'm with your two kids. He's like, "I'm not even thinking about marriage. I'm not thinking about none of that. Like, I got my whole situation going on. I got a lot of shit going for me." And I'm like, "Nigga, beat your ass." So he was like, "Hey, little boy was doing a whole bunch of banging and everything." But at first, the little boy was like, "Hi, daddy." He was like, "Hey, baby boy, I love you. What you doing? How you doing?" Then he gonna snort a line of cocaine. Then he gonna try to hug him. I'm like, "Bitch, no, you're not touching my son with all that coke on you. The fuck? What that residual shit fall out your nose and onto him or someplace in his eye, in his mouth, in his nose." And he looking up to him and shit. I'm like, no. So little Brandon, he's playing with the little hooks and shit, whatever that shit is, the switchboard in the studio. And Augie's like, "Baby boy, don't play with that. Don't play with that." She was like, Mickey, like, he can play with this. It's all his shit. Touch it. Touch all of it. I was like, oh, God. The woman playing Mickey, I think her name is Tiana Paris or Parrish or Perrin or something. She does a great job playing Mickey. I saw I watched the unsung of Mickey Howard. I can't find it nowhere else. I'm trying to find it because I think that was the first unsung that I really watched by myself was Mickey Howard. I love that shit. I love all her music. Only song I didn't know was the one she had with Gerald Levert. I was not aware of that song, but she was like, touch all of it. She really embodying Mickey and how Mickey just really didn't fuck. She didn't fuck around and gave no. She was never with the shits, and I really liked Mickey because of that. So she was like, "You know what, Augie, I'm not gonna do this with you. I'm leaving." And she took the kids and she walked out. He was like, "Mickey, come back here." She's like, "No, I'm not coming back here." He's like, "Where are you going?" And she said, "You know what? You're not the only producer in town, Augie." He's like, "Oh, I'm not." She's like, "No, you're not," and walked out. He was still calling Mickey. Mickey didn't answer him. She looked back and basically if she didn't have the baby holding one baby's hand and wasn't holding the other baby, she would have said, "Fuck you, nigga," and walked out. So she walked out, and at that moment she said she ended up working with two friends of hers. I think Ron and somebody else, and they basically did a demo or some type of mixtape or something to that effect, and they got it into the hands of Atlantic Records. And they got it to Sylvia and two other men. And they basically said, "We want to sign you." She spit her water out. She couldn't believe it. And I thought it was cute and funny. It's like really humble and everything. And she was like, "Oh my God, you do? I'm really sorry for spitting. This is so nasty." They were like, "It's fine. It's okay." They told her voice was one of a kind. They wanted to sign her. And so they went on their new journey with Atlantic Records. So they started the track, "Come Share My Love." And that shit is so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I've never heard anything like it before. I thought it was wonderful. actually glad. I don't know who started the series Unsung, but I really like it because we have, we 90s babies and we have a lot of artists that we like, and those artists have artists they like, and those artists have artists that they like, and we don't know about these artists that inspire our favorite artists. We don't really know about them unless you have like somebody in your family that's real old school when they play the music around you. You know, like when I watched the movie Straight Outta Compton, that was the first time I heard of Roy Ayers' My Life in the Sunshine. You know, that was the first time I ever heard about it. No, Everybody Loves the Sunshine. Sorry, wrong name. My Life in the Sunshine. Oh, because of the way the song goes. But yeah, so I like to hear, people that we like to listen to. Excuse me, y'all. My nose ring is on some other shit. There you go. I like to listen to the people that we like to listen to because everybody's inspired by somebody, and it's real. And I like to learn new things and new people and stuff. And so, I appreciate the unsung because you get to see all the people that every day that they liked and everything. So, you get to hear their music and you get to see why they were inspired by them. And it's just so beautiful to see the new and the old mixed together the way that they are. So, but yeah, she starts with Come Share My Love, and she's doing great. They're touring, she's doing photo shoots, the boys are there, she's happy. The other guys are there. Sylvia's laughing, they're doing the photo shoot. Sylvia's showing her exactly how she wants her to pose and all of that. The photo shoot, she's up and coming, and it's just beautiful. And then they get to a dinner scene, and then they all start talking about, everybody's talking about Whitney Houston. And we need to compete, and we need to do that. I'm like, you're not gonna compete with no Whitney, nigga. Everybody just needs to stay in their lane. Whitney is Whitney. Don't do that, nigga. Don't drive over another lane, cause that's an 18-wheeler, nigga. You ain't gonna make it. Okay, that's gonna be like Kaya when she dragged Reginae and Toya. Bitch, that would be the... You going in the streets with 18-wheelers and they going 70 miles an hour, you ain't gonna be ready. That's Whitney was an 18-wheeler, my nigga. That was a 22-wheeler is what the fuck she was. Even when she was a junkie. Even when she was in Sparkle, she was still doing the shit. So, I don't know. I don't know about that. Trying to compete with Whitney. I'm like, Miki really didn't have to. Miki was her own person. And my mom said something to me, I'll come back to that, but I'll come back. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So they was like, let's compete. We have to compete with Whitney. And she's like, I want to do jazz. And they was like, yeah, you can do jazz when you're 100. Like, what the fuck? Come on, Miki. You're fucking up. Come on, man. Stop doing the bullshit. And she's like, why do I have to wait that long? What type of shit is that? And the other gentleman was like, you have to give your audience what they want. And I'm like, but we made jazz. We grew up off of jazz, Ain't nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. But Sylvia was like, listen, I'll make a deal with you. Knock Whitney off the top of the charts, you can make a bluegrass album. And I'm like, bitch, you... Ooh, I don't know about that. You're not gonna knock no Whitney off. I had to, woof. No, nigga, no. I do not know about that. So, it was like, we're gonna make beautiful music together. She's like, all right, cool, we're making beautiful music. So then they started talking about the glamour and, having an A game. And she's like, well, I have some black designers that I want, that I want to look at, and I like their styles. And it's like, well, if you're going to compete with Whitney, you have to have your A game. See, that pissed me off. I'm going to tell you why. Because black people, African descendants and African people, we're the originators of fucking fashion. You're telling me that me going to people who are of the originators, their designs won't be competitive enough to compete with a Whitney? When you have people like Whitney who wanted to wear nothing but black fashion, but Clive was on that bullshit? That shit pissed me off a little bit. But I can see where they coming from, but I don't like it. I'm like, ugh. I don't know what you're talking about. All the fashions were inspired by black people. All the gay white and gay non-black fashion designers, they were inspired by the gay fashion designers. Those who people did not know, who didn't get up off the ground, who were from America and Europe and Central America, South America, Africa. Like, we inspired all this shit. How you gonna tell me that our shit ain't, Like, the fuck? That pissed me off a little bit, but I'm like, alright, okay. I don't like what you're saying, but I see what you're saying, but then I don't see what you're saying, but we're gonna leave the shit alone. So, shit makes me mad. Shit pissed me off, to be quite honest with you. So, yeah, it's like, oh, we have to compete. And she was like, I'm sick of all this Whitney stuff. I'm not trying all this. I'm not trying to compete. You are. I'm sick of this shit. So she's about to walk out. They trying to talk to her. She's mad. As she's about to walk out, Shaka Khan and her crew slams on in. And she's like, Shaka Khan, how you doing, girl? And she said, Miki Howard, how you doing, baby? I heard your little single. It's hot. You know, I was like, ha, ha. It's her, from what I've seen, Shaka Khan's daughter was playing her in the movie. I was like, yeah, I'm convinced. The hair, the boobs, everything. I'm convinced. I did not know. So I'll come back to that in a minute. But, so he was like, all right, you want to hang? She's like, yeah, let's go hang. And they were trying to tell Miki not to hang out with Shaka because she's a drug addict. You know, they was trying to let her know. She's like, oh, but you going to pick my friends too? And I was like, you know, normally I'm with you with the rebelliousness, you know what I'm saying? Fuck all that, I'm going to do what I want. But I think there's a place for that. And then there's not a place for that. When a motherfucker trying to let you know, that don't hang out with that one, because that motherfucker is, you know. That motherfucker is Eddie Kane Jr. Don't hang out with their ass at all, nigga. Don't do it. They was just trying to help. I'm like, again, I'm all for rebelliousness, but I think there's a time to be rebellious, and then there's a time to listen. And listening would have been very helpful at that point. You should have listened. Oh God, like no Junkie Fresh. Nobody wants to. No David Ruffins. We don't need no. You know. I'm like, God damn. She was inspired by Billie Holiday in beautiful ways and the worst. I'm like, shit. Alright, well, we're going to see how this goes. So they go to dinner. Shaka singing, Come Share My Love. She's like, you didn't know I know that, did you? Like, sound like one of them old folks. You know, you don't know nothing about this. Boy, what you know about this? What you know about that? Yeah. So she's like, yeah. She's like, she's happy. And she started doing a line. She was like, go ahead and hit that and make you happy. Miki was like, no, I'm good. I'm alright. I don't want none of that. Do your thing. She's like, you sure? Okay. She's like, everybody does it. They act like they don't, but they do. And I was like, well, shit. Ugh. I don't know. So then there's a scene where, what's the next scene? I'll jump to the parts I actually give a fuck about. Fuck it. So the next thing that I can really tell it I can give a fuck about, she's on tour, and at that point, her and Tressie and Lytris have made up from the prior situation. So when she's on tour, she didn't know another person to watch her kids because her mama's dead. Plus, they didn't really fuck with each other like that in the first place. Mama's dead. I don't know where the fuck her daddy at. Augie probably somewhere fucking somebody getting high in the studio. So she went to Tressie and she was like, she kept the boys while Miki was on tour. And she said, Tressie, thank you so much for keeping them. She said, it seemed like every time I have no place to, nowhere to go, you always allow me into your home. And I really appreciate it. She said, it's no problem, especially after that situation. I am really sorry for what happened. And I shouldn't have put you out. I should have talked to you first. And Miki was like, you know what, Tracy, don't even worry about that, because you certainly have done more for me than to me, and that's for damn sure. And she's like, okay. She's like, well, you know, she's putting on her lipstick, and it was a beautiful shade. I wonder what shade they we ain't know it's not like lipstick and shit. She was like, where are my boys? You know, where's my Brandon? Where's my other little boy? No, she didn't say. She knows his name. I don't know his name, so fuck it. So, she was like, you know, where's my other little boy? And, she's like, oh, well, they're right here. So the other little one, she talked to, the youngest one, he talked to his mommy, but Brandon didn't want to talk. I think he was upset that she was on the road and she was not there with him. But, you know, mommy has to work and nobody likes it, but, you know, you're not starving and shit. So, yeah, She was like, "Where's my Brandon?" Tracy was like, trying to hand the phone to Brandon. Brandon was like, I don't want to talk. And he would not talk. He was so mad. He was upset. And so Tracy was like, "Oh, well, he's asleep." And she's like, "Well, he's been asleep the last few times I've called." She said, "I'll tell you this. When he wakes up, I'll have him call you." She's like, "All right, well, tell my boys I love them." So then she went to her listening party. And I think at that party, she had remade the album covers of either Come Share My Love, I do believe. And they were playing that one song. I'm in Baby Be Mine. The song, so I had to go through the whole ordeal. Try to fast forward the shit. Um they were playing Baby Be Mine. And it was at that point, that listening party, Gerald Levert watched her come in, and he was just, damn, who was that? So he went over to talk to her and all of his Cleveland niggas swag and all that beautifulness that is niggas from Cleveland. But he went over there to talk to her, and he was like, "How you doing? How are you doing?" And you know who I am. I know who you are. He was just going to get in the whole spiel. He was very nice, and I thought he was a very, very sweet guy. And she's like, "I know who you are. I'm a fan of yours and your dad's and everything like that." And he's like, "You know what I hate about these parties? They don't ever have no real food." And she was like, "Oh yes, they." I was like, "God, like, ooh, they never have good food." He was like, "Well, let's get out of here." So you want me to leave my own party? He was like, "Yeah, come with me." So they left. And then they start, kicking and everything. And they really started, taking a liking to one another. And then that's when they started the song, "That's What Love Is." And they redid the video. And I watched the actual video, "That's What Love Is," and with her and Gerald. And I saw a lot of the similarities. I liked the way they recreated that video. So they started their relationship, and they were in New York for her tour. And I think his tour too. I think it was like a joint tour or something like that. I think he might have been an opening act. I wasn't sure. So he was like, "What's wrong, sweetie? Are you okay? Are you happy?" She was like, "I am, but I miss my boys." And he was like, "Oh, I would love to meet them soon." She's like, "Oh, they would love you." So he meets them, and they come to his house. He picks them up like, "Hey, what up, little boy?" Like, that's so sweet, like a nice little stepdaddy and whatnot. They go into his house. They all laughing. It was her, Gerald, and some other woman, and Eddie Levert, his brother. I could tell that was supposed to be Eddie because they had him spot on. So they were having dinner. They're laughing, having a good time, and then she's in the bathroom at that scene, and she's finding his medications because he did die from an overdose of prescription medications, is what we were told from his death. Not immediately, but we did hear that. These glasses are killing me. Okay, so then she was like, she confronted him about the drugs. She's like, "What is this shit? What you need this for?" He's like, "Oh, that's for my back, and I pulled something with that one, but I don't need them no more. So here, give them to me." He was like, doing that man thing. Don't worry about that. You gonna sit up here and give me the third degree, or you gonna get in bed and get on top of daddy and shit. I'm like, I might get on top of daddy for a little bit. So they are intimate, and then she wakes up and he has the bathtub running. She hears the tub, and it's like, it's been going for a little while. And then she goes in the bathroom and she sees Gerald on the ground. He's passed out. I think he might have overdosed from the pills. He's taken too many. He's gotten hooked to them. And so basically she gets him together. I don't know if she went to took him to the hospital or anything of that nature. I don't know if she did that. But he was basically unconscious. And she woke him back up. She did some chest compressions on him. She did a little mouth to mouth. I don't think she did the full 30. She could have. But he came back too. And she found him and she revived him. And so then she got him together. And then the next scene, she's on the phone with his mother. And she's like, "He really shouldn't be taking these prescriptions. I don't know what they're for. and I don't know what they're supposed to do. I don't know if he's really telling me the whole story, but he should be on these meds because they're really gonna, mess him up. He hangs the phone up. He comes in the room. This is how hooked old boy is. He had his prescriptions in his hand. I'm assuming he already had just taken them. He took the phone out of her hand and hung it up. Okay, now mind you, she done moved into his house, so that's his phone and everything. So he's real upset. He was like, "What the fuck, Miki? Why are you telling people my business?" He's like, "Why are you telling my mama about my business? You need to stay out of my business." He said, "Let me tell you something. Don't you forget, I'm the one that revived you. I'm the one that found you when you was on a floor unconscious and shit." He was like, "Stay out of my business," and he was really wobbling. I'm like, "You high right now? You can't even stand straight." She's like, "Baby, you can't even stand up right." He's like, "I don't care. Stay out of my business." You know that Miss Seeley shit. He pulled one of these bitches. And so she ended up moving out, and he was upset with her. She was just trying to help, but he's a junkie, and if a junkie don't really want to be, I hate to describe Gerald Levert like that because he seemed like such a loving, kind man. But you hate to see drugs catch a hold of somebody that's that wonderful because it really does change them in the worst ways. And it's like they're so nice. I really wish this wasn't, it seemed like food and drugs really fucked up old boy. But it's like you really wish it wasn't like that, and you don't really describe him like that, especially not him, because he seems so loving, and he seemed like a nice ass man. But then we go to the next scene. They didn't broke up, and she done moved out. He done moved on, and she said it's been 6 months. Her friend was like, 6 months is too long for you to be waiting for any man, even Gerald. So you need to just go ahead and move on with that shit. I know you don't want to, but baby, you need to move on. And so she was like, "But I really love Gerald, all that." And then they're shopping. Then the next thing you know, nigga number 3 rolls up on the roster. This is Eddie, her first husband, but the third dude of the story that she's involved with. And I'm like, oh, not this nigga. He's like the Grinch of life. I saw the actual unsung, so I knew ahead of time when they said Eddie, that nigga wasn't shit. I hate to use the phrase nigga ain't shit because I don't like it. I think we should give people a chance. You can describe a motherfucker. If they ain't shit, they ain't shit. But I think it's overused and I don't think it's fair. I just, whatever motherfucker ain't shit, I guess you just describing them. It is what it is. So Niggy. I'm turning into Alex. Eddie, he rolls up. He was like, "Look at this, look at here, look at here. Who are you? Or you must be Miki Howard. I'm gonna tell all my friends." He's like, "I've been rolling up and down the street trying to find a friend." And Miki was like, "My nigga, that's weird. That's stalkish. Okay, you do something about that." I would have walked away from his ass right then because I don't feel comfortable. So then he was like, "It's all right. Take them shades off. I want to see your eyes." She's like, "No, I'm not taking them off." And he was like, "Okay, well, would you, talk to me and come to dinner with me and such and so?" He's like, "All right, fine, whatever." Scene flash forward. They're at dinner. He's in this Versace gold chain Migos type of shirt. And she's in this yellow dress. She looks so beautiful. She looking like something straight out of an Oshun mythology character. She's so beautiful. She looks straight. She straight up looked like some Oshun type shit. She did. She was beautiful. And so they're having dinner. He was like, "I like you, and I know this is soon. It's been 3 months, but I really want to, I want this to go longer. I feel a lot for you." And then Eazy-E walks up, and the character playing Easy, he's beautiful, just chocolate and beautiful, like a mocha chocolate type complexion, and he had the nice curl. I'm like, this ain't really Easy, because Easy's curl wasn't never really right when you looked at it, but his curl was fine. I'm like, no, that ain't Easy because his curl looked right. It's finally right. He was like, he was really suave. He was with his group of niggas. They was eating and everything and relaxing. And he was like, "Excuse me, ma'am, are you Mickey Howard?" And she's like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "I am a huge fan of your music. Your voice is beautiful, and you look beautiful." And he told old boy, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "I see you around sometime." And I was like, "Oh, bitch." I don't know. Easy could have took me that night. I don't know, but so she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, thank you." And so then he continues to talk, and she's like, "Well, go on, baby," because Eddie seemed very intimidated by Easy. It was Easy and seven other niggas, so I would have been intimidated too if I was a man. But particularly the man that was on that rah rah shit, but you didn't really have the muscle like that. But so he keeps talking to her, and he's saying, "Oh, I want to be with you," and he gives her a watch, and I'm like, "The fuck?" It was a Rolex. It was nice. It was nice. I'll give him that. He gonna say, "Oh, it, I want my girl to um, know what time it is and be on time for me in style." And I'm like, nope. When you start controlling my time, nope. If you give me a watch, a phone, a beeper, or a SOS help pad, or two cans with a string attached to it, anything where you can track me and shit, as far as keeping a low jack on me, this ain't gonna work. It's just gonna be like Gabe when he was cheating on Trina Braxton, and he put a GPS in her phone. Like, nope. Mm-mm. Not at all. This is not gonna work. This is already gonna be some bullshit. But then he gave her stacks of cash. Like, she got money. Like, not saying that nobody's gonna turn money down, depending on who it's coming from, because all money ain't good money. Fuck all that. But I'm like, no, I don't know about all of that. Cool. So so the scene goes on. She's dealing with him. Um, she gets pregnant. She's pregnant. Well, she ain't just get pregnant. We all know how pregnancy works. It ain't from no damn stork. So she was pregnant, and she tells him, "I'm pregnant." He cooked for her, and he was like, "What you gonna do for this plate?" She's like, "Quit playing, Eddie. I'm pregnant." And he was like, he dropped the plate, and he started smiling, and then he started smiling. I'm like, this motherfucker. I see. This, mm-mm. This motherfucker's crazy. I don't like this at all. I'm like, baby, you should have known. I'm like, what the fuck? So she's pregnant, and when I watched the unsung, she said Miki said she didn't want to get married, but she said Tracy said in the unsung interview that actually was her fault. Because she told her as an older black woman, as an older woman, period, she said, "Listen, this is your third child, and you've never been married. You need to go ahead and get married." And my mama was like, "Mm-mm." She said, "That's cool for some people, but that don't always work for everybody." And she said, my mom was talking about that because she was like, my grandmother, Bernice, um, she was pregnant. She had two kids, my grandmother and my uncle R. And so her great grandmother told her that she needed to get married to my great granddaddy Moss. And she's like, "You got two kids, and this is like the '60s or something." And she's like, "You not married, and you need to marry him, and he has a nice job." And she never wanted to marry my great granddaddy. And then she married him, and not even 2 months later, my great grandmama, Maddie Pauline, she died. I was like, I would have been pissed. I'm not going to stay with this nigga for the rest of my life. And I didn't even want him to. I didn't even want to. I would have been so mad. She was like, "Girl," and my great granddaddy, he didn't die for years. He was so terrible to my great grandmother. He cheated. He abused my grandmother, and everything. He was sexually deviant and shit. I'm like, nigga, you should have never listened to shit. So I was like, it kind of reminded me of the Miki situation. The lady was like, "That's my fault. I shouldn't have told her to get married. I know she had a lot of kids out of wedlock, but I shouldn't have told her to get married, and especially not to that motherfucker." So they got married. They had the pictures of her and the baby, her when she was pregnant, um, all of that. And so she's performing um, Love under new management. And Sylvia, and she's still under Atlantic Records. And by that time, Love Under New Management, she had like a number one. And this nigga, he gonna say something. Well, we need to get to another record company because I don't like the fact that Sylvia has all that power over you. I don't like that she has so much power over you. And I'm like you don't like that she has it because you want it. And you know he was abusive to her, saying she's all types of trick bitches and you a hood rat. I'm like, bitch, I ain't no hood rat. I'm a successful person. I've made my way in the world. You just some nigga that's a drug dealer. You the hood rat of the relationship. I'm not. You know, the fuck out of here with that shit. And so he was coming at Sylvia in a very disrespectful manner. He was like, we gonna talk right now. She's like, no, this we will not do. She said, you've been running the streets too long. You handle your business the way you handle it, and I handle this. You don't run this. You don't run me. And he was like, she said, you need to stay in your lane. He said, I'm in my lane. I'm in your lane. I'm in that lane. I'm in all the lanes. I'm like, no. No, that's exactly why you cannot marry a motherfucker who's jealous of you. And you can't marry certain people who make less than you, men or women. And you can't marry a motherfucker in the industry who either is jealous of you or doesn't understand your position, because they will fucking sabotage you. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I refuse. Don't do that shit, because it doesn't seem to work out well for people. You being married to somebody who's jealous of you. You being married to somebody who doesn't have what you have, who's not willing to work for what you have. You know what I'm saying? No, not at all. So then Sylvia was like, Miki came over there like, well, hold up, wait a minute, why are y'all arguing? What's wrong? Sylvia was like, you better get him, and he gonna say, keep walking. I'm like, bitch, shut up. Oh, bitch ass little nigga. And so they're arguing, and Miki was like, Sylvia, I'm gonna get him. I'm really sorry, I'm gonna get him. And Miki was like, nigga, what are you doing? Because he's, they get back to the house, and in between the scenes, he was like, I don't like that she has so much control over you. We need to be looking for somewhere else. She was like, baby, I got a #1 record. I'm not, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing that. I'm not moving any fucking where. I got a #1 record. I'm like, nigga, you can't be looking for anything of her best interest. Because if I got a #1 record, unless I'm not getting my money, which she was, Atlantic was making sure she was getting her money, I'm not moving. Do you see Beyonce trying to get out of Columbia Records? Because she's straight. My nigga is gravy. You don't do shit like that. I'm like, this nigga, he just ain't no good. Then she gets to the club and to this party scene. Easy sees her. She sees him. She's like, hey, what's up? And she sits on his lap. And I ain't gonna lie. The thought in me was like, bitch, I'm sitting on Easy's lap because this is Easy and I like you. But then I was like, she's married. Perhaps she shouldn't sit on his lap. And I'm like, I don't know. You should divorce this nigga anyway. But she was married. I don't think she should have been sitting on Easy's lap. But I would have just done it anyway, because it's easy. It's fucking easy. This ain't no regular nigga. This is the nigga. You feel me? So, but I'm like, but I can still, that is disrespectful for you to be married and for you to be sitting on no other nigga lap. I can see why that is a problem. So I can't really co-sign that, but a little the thought in me would have sat on his lap anyway. So, not like we fucking him, just sitting on his lap. So Eddie picks her up. Well, he don't pick her up, but he snatches her out of the club by her arm. She's like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? And I get home, he was like, what are you doing? I'm tired of you. I'm sick of your shit. She's like, why are you always bothering me? I'm just trying to enjoy myself. Don't snatch me out of places and shit. And he was like, I want you to... She's like, what do you want from me? And he said, I want you to listen to me. I want to guide you and mold you and teach you. She took her ring off. She just threw it at him. And I don't know what was going on in their relationship. I know he was abusive. He probably was cheating, because if a motherfucker beat you, they'll cheat on you. They will. Just like if a motherfucker steal, they'll lie. So, she threw a ring at him and he smacked her in the face. The next scene, she leaves him and takes all 3 of the kids because he beat her. And she had a huge bruise. And in real life, Miki she's a brown, red tone type of woman. So you can clearly see a bruise on somebody who is a little lighter and a little more brownish red toned. So I'm like, ugh. Not to say that if you can't see a bruise, it's okay for somebody to hit you. It's never okay to hit people if it's not self-defense and and get in their space. And it's never okay for you to sit up there and be getting hit. You know, your name is not Everlast, and that is not all right. So, you know, she's in the room. She was there. Her friend Joy or something was there. She was like, "Are you good? Do you need anything?" She's like, "I'm okay." And she had this. There's a big guy, Mario was his name. She's like, "Mario is gonna watch the door for me. I paid him some pizzas and some money and everything. He cool." And I'm like, see, well, you can't have fat people as security. You gotta pay them money, not food, cause you know food is cool, but it's not a significant enough payment. You know, it's like paying somebody in dick, but not money. Dick is cool, but it ain't money. I can get dick anywhere. So he watches the door. The kids are there with Mario in the room. She walks Joy down to her car. Eddie comes up. Mario was like, "Nah, you can't come to the door." Eddie gonna give him an envelope. Probably had a few stacks in it. And he was like, "Oh well, shit. Okay, well, go ahead." And he was gonna open the door to see Mickey. Mickey wasn't in the room. Mickey was coming up from walking Joy down, or April, or whatever her name was. And he sees Mickey. Mickey takes off, and I ain't mad at it. He takes off after her. He's like, "Mickey, I just want to talk to you." She's like, "No, I don't want to talk to you. You hit me." So she tries to get on the elevator. He gets her before the elevator even starts moving, let alone go up or opening. And she kicks him in the balls, and she runs off and then circles back around to her room. And she's screaming, "Mario, Mario, this nigga ain't got his money, so he's nowhere to be found." And so then she goes into the room. She tries to close the door. I don't think she got it, got the door right. And you could tell there was like split scenes and split editing, because she closed the door all the way. Well, not all the way because he still got in. But then when he was coming to the door was open and he was pushing it in and from trying to stop it from being closed all the way. So I'm like, this is split editing. They didn't shoot this scene together, and you can kind of tell because that doorway scene didn't seem right. And so he was like, "Baby, I just want to talk to you." She pulls a gun out. "I don't want to talk to you at all. There's nothing to talk about. We're going to talk about another black eye, a black bruise under my eye." Like, no. He comes close to her. She shoots at him. She said, "I ain't going to miss again." She said, get your bitch ass out and walk." So he finally gets out. And so the next scene, she's talking to Atlantic Records. She's talking to Sylvia and them. By that time, Eddie had gone up there and he had done some crazy shit and basically tore up their office and terrorized them. And so they dropped Atlantic Records because of his antics. They dropped Mickey Howard. And I was like, that's so fucked up. I didn't think that was fair. My mom was saying, you know, you can't, you bring all that nigga shit up there and, you know, this is a place of business. That scares motherfuckers, and they will drop you because they can't deal with. They're not gonna deal with that shit at all. So, so she had to go to Giant Records, and she was like, "I didn't want to leave Atlantic Records. I just wanted to leave Eddie, but that he made that more difficult than it was going more difficult to, you know, than anything. I just wanted to leave Atlantic, and I wanted to leave Eddie, not Atlantic. But you know, she got her contract was dropped and." She had to go to Giant Records. When she was at Giant Records, she made Ain't Nobody Like You. And in the unsung, she was saying she was hanging out with some rappers that are well known. And I'm assuming it was the whole Eazy-E Death Row scene. Because she is in LA. And she did, you know, she did say basically that she was fucking with, Easy a little bit. Not too much that we saw, but just a little bit. So then she makes that song. So she's not getting her money. And she went to this lady named Cassandra. She's like, "Where's my money?" She said, "My contract said I'm supposed to get a couple payments before the album drops. And your album is almost here. And I have yet to get my second payment." And the lady acts stupid like, "Oh, you didn't get it? Oh, well, just call Gary and he'll get it for you. I promise you. We're gonna get you your money, Mickey. I'm like, bitch, no, you're not. You're not gonna get no motherfucking money. I'm like, that pissed me off. And then the album got to a point where the album had already dropped. And she calling Gary, and she's like, Gary, where's my money? No, Carl. She's like, where's my money, Carl? Where's my money? And he was like, well, didn't you get paid? Or she's like, no. The album been dropped and I haven't got any money. Where's my money, Carl? Where's my money? And I ain't married. I'm like, I did all this fucking work. I want my goddamn money. And he was like, well, I'm going to call accountant. She's like, no. There's no more calling accounting, Carl. I want my money. What the fuck? And he was like, oh, I got somebody on the other line. She's like, don't hang up on me. Don't hang up on me. And he hung up on her, and he was snorting a whole line of coke. I'm like, this motherfucker is snorting your money. Oh, God. Now, this reminded me of what Cat Williams was talking about when he was in that stand-up special. He said, it's pimping, and he was talking about, executives will be doing drugs in front of you in a meeting. They will be doing that shit in front of you. And I was like, I thought they would. That's fucked up. But I'm like, it makes sense. It makes sense for them to be doing shit like that in front of you. They've been doing it for a long time. This shit ain't new. So she gets Eddie. Why the fuck you called Eddie? You gonna do some rah-rah shit? You should have called Easy or some shit. Why you call that nigga? That ain't going well for you. She calls Eddie. He goes up there. He fucks up Carl. Carl said he gonna get the money. So not Easy. Mickey's like, all right, cool. Let it alone. And he's like, Carl got mad because she was basically telling him what to do. He don't like being told what to do. And he don't like that she can call shots and shit. And he was like, he said it the first time. He told you was going to get your money last time. She's like, yes, but he's going to get the money. And she said, Carl, hurry up and get my money. Don't nobody want to be coming up here and beating your ass and shit. I was like, this nigga. Mickey is gangster as fuck. I like you, bitch. So then Carl over here bleeding. He said, I'm gonna get my money. I'm gonna get your money. I'm sorry. And then Eddie's like, you a stupid ass bitch. You ain't nothing but a dumbass trick and a hood rat. I'm up here wasting my time with you, and you gonna get me locked up. He's like, I'm a stupid trick. She's like, nigga, you the stupid trick. You gonna fuck around and beat his ass, and they gonna take you to jail. And then he busts Nikki in her nose. He hits her in her nose, and he breaks her nose. So he hit her so hard she was unconscious. She hit the wall and she just slid down the wall and passed the fuck out. So then Giant Records dropped her, and then basically everybody in the industry was talking about Miki Howard, and she's a crazy bitch. Don't pick her up. She got too much shit going on. Don't work with her. She basically said, even in Unsung, she talked about how she got blackballed out of the industry. And I'm like, that's hella fucked up. This movie shows more detail, but Unsung talks about it. You know, this movie shows like a visual, but Unsung talks about it in more detail. You know how like books show more, or telling you more detail, but the movie gives you a visual for the shits. So it's kind of like that. So then, she's somewhere with Shaka Khan, just getting tooted and booted, my nigga. She's just all types of high. And she's drinking and smoking. And she was like, well, what happened? Shaka was like, what happened? She was like, you can't get no work, Miki Howard? She was like, girl, don't nobody want to work with Miki Howard now. Thanks to Eddie, that punk ass bitch. He made sure of that. And she was laughing. Shaka, her mean ass, this bitch. She was laughing. She was like, I was shit, girl. I was trying to tell you, but you walk around here singing like you was in love and shit. Bitch, I hate you. I fucking hate you. So, they was getting high together. They was getting super high. And it was at that point that she basically introduced her to what she called a Cocoa Puff, which we all know is pretty much crack. And she started smoking crack, and that was that. She was like holding herself and blowing out puffs, and she was like, like god damn, what type of shit? And so then after that, it showed like a year or so of her just getting high. Her and Shaka was just smoking so much. And I was talking to my mom. I was like, well, if she was going to get her high, why didn't she get her a job? Because mom was like, she might not, Shaka wasn't popping in the industry for a while, but because of all the hits she had, she could tour. And I was like, well, how come she didn't have her on the tour? She was like, that's a good question. I don't know. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, if you gonna get me high, you could at least give me some fucking work. You know, like, what type of shit is that? So then, she ends up on this, what is that thing? A showcase. And she's singing Come Share My Love. The nigga's so high, she stops at the beginning of the performance and says, hold on, wait a minute, stop. What song is this? I said, bitch, well, take your ass and sit down and give these people their money back. That's why motherfuckers didn't work with you in the first place. And my mom was like, what? If you know you got blackballed and you got messed up to that point, why would you start doing drugs where you aren't even coherent enough to know your own songs? Like, why would you do that? I was like, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know why a motherfucker would do some shit like that. So, I was like, bitch, why? She was like, oh, do you guys see the butterfly? And then a guy came on stage. He was like, man, we gotta get off the stage. Because she was about to walk off the stage. That's how high this nigga is. She's about to walk off the stage in the movie. I'm like, see, I appreciate when people can be very honest about all of their fuckery and all the things that have happened to them and the things that they have done as well. Because it's never just one-sided. In everybody's life, there's shit people have done to you and there's shit you've done. And even done to yourself. And I really appreciate how honest she was about how fucking high that this woman got. Like, she almost walked off a goddamn stage. And then she got mad at the dude who was on stage trying to help her not walk off the fucking stage and hurt her goddamn self. And then she was like, get off the stage. Who are you? Why are you on stage? And they was like, you better get your boy. She told them, the production people, you better come get your boy. I'm like, see this right here? Get high the day before. Don't get high at all. But if you have to get high the day before and then perform today. And then get high when you're done. Don't do this shit right now. Like, you can tell that motherfucker just smoked. Like, Whitney smoked for years. She was okay. She was alright till them 2000s hit. Then it was like, God damn, I don't know what's happening here. But she did say that she smoked all the time during The Preacher's Wife. And I'm like, damn, The Preacher's Wife? I could have never told. I could have never, I didn't know. I couldn't seen that she was high at all. But I'm like, hey, they had editing and shit, so what the fuck ever. So then the scene flash forwards to her being in a car. Cop rolls up on her. He's like, get out the car. Let me see your ID. She's like, okay, I'm going to reach for my ID, but don't shoot me. I was like, that's fucked up that the things have not changed from then to now. But it's like, oh, God, this is terrible. I think it's worse because it's actually linked with her actually doing criminal activity and actually being under the influence, behind the wheel. So I was like, fuck. Really, Miki? But I don't know. So then he was like, good, come on out and walk the line. And she was singing. You want to hear me sing? And he was like, the officer was like, ma'am, I don't give a shit if you can sing. I don't care. Get out the car. And he said, walk the line. She was like, hold on, man. I didn't do no line. I'm just like, bitch, shut the fuck up. That shit pissed me off so bad, y'all. I was like, bitch, shut up. Shut up. The fuck up, bitch. Stupid bitch. So she finally got out, tried to do a line. She was like, well, you gonna want me to do a line? Then back up then. Shit, back the fuck up if you want me to do a line. And I'm like, Jesus. So he backed up, and then she gonna walk on the car. It's kind of tight. Like, he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. But he arrested her. She went to jail. This had to be about 1997 or so. I don't know if this was before Gianni got shot and killed or after. It was definitely during that whole Andrew Cunanan time with his fuckery. But I don't know if it was in March or not. I have to look it up and see. And I'm sure her arrests are a matter of public records and shit. Because when you get locked up, it's shit of public records. But they're gonna say, ma'am, fix your wig. It's like she said, oh, this is my hair. I said they been shading us with the hair thing. I'm like, fuck y'all. Leave my hair alone, bitch. It ain't your business. God damn it. Oh shit. So then they're like, hold the sign. She's like, what sign? He said, one on your neck. She's like, oh, okay. So she's doing a pose, then she posed like this to the side with her finger up. I was like, that's terrible. I like the finger shit, but just to come on, man. So then her friend bails her out, and then Gerald comes from Cleveland to go see her. And he was like, baby, I love you. You got a problem. You need to go to rehab. I'll pay for it. She's like, I don't need your money, nigga. I got money. He's like, I didn't say that you didn't have money. She said, well, why you say it then? He said, because I love you and I want to help you. She said, are you going to go to rehab? She said, this ain't about me. She said, well, if I need rehab, you need rehab. He said, you didn't pick me. You didn't come visit me in prison or in jail. This ain't about me. This is about you. She said, I don't need rehab the same way you don't need rehab and help. And she walked off. He was like, Miki, girl, come quit playing. I'm like, I really wish she would listen to him. He loved her. They had a lot of issues, but he really was trying to help and be there for her. So then she gets home from partying and shit, and her son is packing to go to a field trip, and she's supposed to be on the field trip, chaperone, and she's so fucking high, she forgets. She's like, nah, I can't do it today. Can't chaperone. She's like, I love you, and he's like, well, what's wrong with you? Every time you home, you never home, and when you are home, it's like you dead. And she's like, baby, I'm sorry. You don't have to go to school. You can stay home with me, and I can cook you something. I was like, don't eat that food, nigga. My little nigga, don't eat that food, nigga. Don't eat it. No, he's grown now. I'm like, Brandon, don't eat that food. So then, the scene fast forwards to her being with Shaka. They're getting high, and this is 1997 still, and she overdoses. And Shaka don't overdose at this point, but Shaka's trying to wake her up, and she's like, oh, fuck this, no. And that's what I forgot. That's actually how the beginning of the movie starts, that she's overdosing and shit. So Shaka drags her from the couch into the bathroom and puts her in the shower. She wakes her up with cold water. I don't know what it is about motherfuckers who are overdosing in water. It's like a spiritual portal or some shit to bring them back from the other side. Like, put that motherfucker under water, smack him. Hey, quit playing, bitch. Come back, bitch. Come back, bitch. Come back. Stop. So then, she wakes up, and then the next thing, she's going to rehab. She doesn't want to admit she's a junkie. She's blaming God for taking her voice. It's like, well, you smoked that motherfucker away. He didn't just take the shit. You fucked it up. Like, bitch, this shit here, this ain't forever. So, man, when you got it, at least try to give a fuck about it. A little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Try to give a fuck about it. You don't blame other entities for your fuck ups. You did that shit. So, so then, she's telling him, he's like, the man is like, you're a junkie. And she's like, I ain't no junkie about to run away. She's like, listen, you are a junkie. Because what you're doing is running away. Junkie crackheads run away. You smoke. She said, listen, this is your situation, Mickey Howard. You smoke crack and you can't stop. That's why you're a junkie. And she gets upset, but she said, everybody else lies to you. I'm going to tell you the truth, girl. I don't want nothing from you. Take them sunglasses off and sit your ass down. And so she sits down. And so they talk, real talk. And then he's like, why are you drinking so much water? She said, because my voice therapy, they said they want me to drink more water. And he said, your doctor, knows, and the doctor you have in the saying that you're requesting excessive nasal drip. And I'm like, is she getting high off that? Does she have an issue? She obviously has an issue because she's been snorting and sniffing and smoking and shit. That takes a toll on your body. And so the next thing, he tells her he wants her to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And he has a man come, a friend of his come, and he wants, her to go see him. And so the doctor walks in, and then she goes to see him. And he was like, well, Miss Howard, your vocal cords are completely healthy. I'm like, really? They are? God damn. The motherfuckers is healthy? Well, shit, I guess everybody's body is different. I'm like, well, goddamn, I thought, oh, shit, Her shit is healthy. And she's like, no, they're not. I can't sing. He said, well, the reason you can't sing is because your nose is broken. She said, well, it doesn't feel broken. She said, well, I know it doesn't. He said, but you can't sing because there's no air coming through your passageway. And if you don't have air coming in, you can't breathe. Because you can't breathe the right way, you can't sing. And he said, so we have to do surgery. And she's like, she said, if you can fix this. He said, no. He said, if I fix this, can I get tickets to your show? She said, if you fix my nose and you fix all of this right up and through here, you can get tickets for every show I have till the day I die for the rest of your life. He was like, deal. So that was that. And so he fixed it, and she went back to the brother that was her counselor. he said, what's going on? She said, apparently there was nothing wrong with my vocal cords. My nose was broken. She was like, Eddie broke my nose with his bitch ass goddamn fool. And she said evidently the doctor said just shaved a little bone off and I should be okay. And she said, we'll see. And he was like, he came back with her psychological diagnosis, and they said that she had post-traumatic stress syndrome, and she had low self-esteem. And he was like, she's like, oh, quit playing, you know I love me. And he was like, oh, what do you think would have happened to you to cause these things? She's like, well, I just been beat up a lot, and I've been, abused, and I got to a point where I felt like if somebody wanted to walk all over me in order to stay, I would just let them because I didn't want them to leave my life. And he was like, they was talking about options that they had to change that. And he was like, so out of all the people you was around, nobody told you about yourself. Nobody told you to stop. Nobody said that drugs will hurt you. She was like, no, nobody. She said, well, no, that's not true. Gerald Levert told me, and he tried to help me. He said, well, Gerald is the one that loved you. And she said, when I first met Gerald, that was the first time I ever looked at somebody and just saw love. It was all over him. And he was, just talking about her experience with Gerald. And so then she gets her therapy. She does her, as Iyanla would say, she does the work. And she's going through her process. She's trying to become an artist again. So she goes to see Sylvia from Atlantic Records. I'm not sure at that point if she is still with Atlantic Records. She might be, because no, unless you're upgrading, nobody wants to get rid of those types of jobs. I work for a record company, bitch. Ain't nobody getting rid of this job. The fuck you thought this was? So she goes to see Sylvia, and Sylvia's happy for her, but Sylvia can't sign her. Mickey Howard, her career is too damaged, and they can't do shit with her. They're like, no, thank you. She was like, I'm on will travel status, with half voice, and I can't even get promoters to bring a band because of the experience, her being high, her bad reputation, all this shit. She basically got blackballed. And Sylvia said, you know what, baby, listen. You don't have to try to be Whitney. You don't have to try to be anybody. Just be yourself, and you can just do you. And she said, I know you've had circumstances in the past, and you've gone through those, and you're going to get through this one. And so she said, I believe in you. And she's like, okay. So she does a showcase somewhere, and Eddie shows up. Wondering when old Ike Turner would show up. No bitch ass nigga. So he shows up talking about, I'm just checking in. She said, I don't need you checking in. That's called stalking. That's what the fuck that is. He's like, I love you. She's like, whatever. And he was like, basically, he got back to who he really was. You a hood rat. You wouldn't be here without me. And she said, you're right. I would not be trying to make a career comeback if it wasn't for you, because I'd be where I was supposed to be. And I'm like, well, that's true. But nobody told you to get high. Because if he just fucked you up, but you were doing your work and you continued, you might not have been as bad off. But, I don't know. So that part is his fault, but you do have to be honest about you doing drugs and being high during performances and walking off stages and shit like you Jesus walking in the air and shit. But so he was like, you a hood rat, you ain't shit, you ain't nothing without me, and you a trick, and you a stupid bitch. And he's like, she said, I'm a stupid bitch? Oh, okay, I got you, stupid bitch. And then she proceeds to choke him from the back and basically about to kill this nigga. She said, you gonna meet your maker today. I'm gonna kill you niggas. I'm sick of you, and I'm sick of your shit. And so then security and everybody come in. It was like, Miki, chill. She like, nah, not Miki, chill. You need to tell this nigga to chill. Tell this motherfucker to chill. Ain't shit wrong with me. I'm straight. So they get him out, and she's happy because she's sick. Or she's like, I'm fine, I'm fine. She conquered him, and she's fine, and that's that. And then the next scene, she does a performance, where she's singing, and then Gerald is singing because OJ is supposed to be performing, but at that point, Gerald's daddy broke his foot, so Gerald has to fill in for his daddy. And I think I remember that performance, and I think that was right before he died. So they went back there. He went to go see her. They was, went back over old times just a little bit. And was like, baby, I miss you. I miss you too. And she's like, what's wrong with you? Are you sleeping? What's wrong? Look at your eyes. And he was like, you know how some men are. Like, nah, I'm fine. And when they not fine, and we all know it. And he was like, go knock him dead and show him how dumb is, Howard. She was like, ain't no other way. I don't know another way, baby, And he's like, you see the love they have for each other. It never really left. They had a lot of issues, but they never really got to love each other the way they should. So that was the last time she saw him alive. That, as far as this movie goes. And then the next time she sees him, she's sleeping. He comes to her in an all-white suit. And the first time I watched it, I didn't realize that he had passed on. I thought, like, oh, he's just coming he came to see his Pooh Bear. He missed her and all that. But he's like, I was created to love you. And I was like, oh, that just, I love to hear a man say shit like that and actually mean it. It makes my heart melt, and it makes me really emotional, and it makes you vulnerable. It's like, oh baby, But then she gets a phone call, and then she was like, hold on, baby, hold that thought. I'll be right back. I love you so much. Like, mwah. And she gets a phone call, and somebody calls her and says, Miki, Gerald is dead. And she's like, no, he's not. He's sitting right here. And he wasn't there, and he was gone. And I really do, if that did happen, I can see that could happen. That somebody's spirit, the love that y'all have for each other, no matter the circumstances, is so strong that you will come back and visit them before you go. I can see that could happen. I believe, the spiritual world and all of that, and all the hoodoo and voodoo and all the palo. I fuck with all of it. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's refreshing, and it's ancient and very sacred. So I liked it. So she was like, they say he's dead. He overdosed on something about prescription medications. And you can see that Miki got exposed, she got arrested, and because when a person is out more with their fuckery, they're going to have to get to a point where they have to get help. And Gerald, I don't think he ever got to a point where he felt like he had to get help. So he didn't, and unfortunately he died. I think with him being obese and him having probably not having the best diet and him being on prescription medication, I think that was a 3-hitter quitter. I was like, oh boy, I'm surprised he lived as long as he did. That's unfortunate, but it is real. So she goes to his funeral. Everybody's giving their condolences. They love and everything. And then she's mourning. And then the real Miki Howard comes in and plays somebody else, and she says, I'm really sorry for your time of your time of grief. And I want to stop right here and say that the real Miki Howard, that's playing somebody else, talking to the actress Miki, she looks so edgy, and I think she looks so beautiful. And I didn't like the weave, but even with the weave, she looked edgy, and I think she looked real good. And I like the ring. I like the ensemble, all black, because she just looked like that bitch. And I fucked with it, and I really like that look. So then she gave her some drugs, and she said it's some little, something to take your mind off that pain. And then she was like, raised her eyebrow and everything. She looks like one of my play cousins in Cleveland. And she's real beautiful. And the actress Miki went into the bathroom, and she was about to get high. And then Shaka called her, and she was like, baby, I'm really sorry about what you're going through. I would be there with you, and I love you. She's like, where are you? She said, I'm in a rehab center in Malibu. And she was about to snort this cocaine that she had to crush up. But then she didn't. She was like, you really made it, baby. I'm so proud of you. And she was like, girl, listen, if you ever need anything, call me, boo boo. She's like, I will. And Mickey's daughter was, she was like knocking on the door. She was like, listen, hey, are you okay, mom? She's like, I'm fine, KK. Give me 1 second. And so she got off the phone with Shaka. Shaka was like, baby, I love you. I'm about to go ahead and do my work and get myself together. And so she did, and that was the end of that scene. She was like, and that's basically the next scene she went to perform, and she was singing "Ain't Nobody Like You," and it showed the pictures of her, her kids, her pregnant, her and KK's baby, her youngest child with Eddie, and she was like, after I stopped doing drugs and after that last temptation, I found my voice again. And I found strength that I never had before. And it made, kind of build her up as a woman. I will say that scene pissed me off. Because if we had a funeral for a nigga that overdosed on fucking drugs, why would you think that it's a good idea to give me fucking drugs? Like, bitch, at what point in your logic did you think that was a good idea? I just want to know. But, whatever. Motherfuckers is selling shit. They don't really care about your logic. They just care about how much you're going to give them for this ounce. So it's a business. I don't agree with it, but it's a business. It is what it is. But that movie I thought was so beautiful. I really liked the Mickey Howard story. I can't find the actual unsung on YouTube, so I'm probably just gonna go on Amazon and just buy the shits, cause whatever. But I thought it was a beautiful movie. And tell me what you guys thought about it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys the next time. Bye. Mwah.